Well, hello and welcome to this exercise on sample distribution and box plot based on an S1 or iGCSE type question. And here we've got stem and leaf diagrams for two populations, green slacks and penville. And the sample for each of these populations, for each of these two populations is 35. So we've got 35 in each of those. We're supposed to find A and B, where A is the lower quartile for green slacks and B is the upper quartile for green slacks. But meanwhile, we've been given the, um, the Q2, that's the median value for green slacks as 64. We've been given the median value for penville as 39. Now, we can find Q1 for green slacks in one of two ways. Now, if we count all the values before the median value for green slacks, we got 17. So we can then do, not counting the median value itself, the number of values before the median value is 17. So if we then do 17 plus 1 divided by 2, 17 plus 1 is 18, divide 18 by 2, you get 9. So the value that occupies the ninth position is the upper quartile, and in this case is 44. Right. Now we can also do the same thing again by looking at the whole 35, the whole sample of 35. So we can do 35 plus 1, which is 36, divide 36 by 4, you get 9. Again, the ninth value, which is 44, is the lower quartile. Now, I tried finding this value using Excel, and it did not work because if I did the usual thing of the equals quartile, the range of values, comma 1, I got 48, which is not right. But when I did quartile dot exe and the range of values, comma 1, that gives a value of 44. So you got to be very careful when you do this. Right. Now for the upper quartile, we then do 3 times n plus 1 divided by 4, where n in this case is 35. 35 plus 1 is 36. 36 divided by 4 is 9, 9, 33, 27. So the 27 value for green slacks, which is 76, is the upper quartile. So Q3 is 76. Right. Now, I looked at the possibility of drawing a curve using standard deviation. And you can't do this because if you have a look at both the samples for green slacks and penville, you can see that they are both bimodal. So if you try to draw a curve, you're going to have two peaks, and that's not very helpful. So I didn't do that anyway. But check it yourself. You can draw a curve using standard deviation. Anyway, moving on for outliers. It says an outlier is a value that falls either more than 1.5 times Q3 minus Q1, where Q3 minus Q1 is the interquartile range above Q3, or more than 1.5 times the interquartile range below Q1. Now, you can get an outlier by one of three ways. Either you made a mistake in your sampling, or you're actually correct, or it belongs to a different set of data. So you can get an outlier by one of three ways. Okay, we should do that in the next slide. Right, now for here, to begin with, we've got the so-called 5-number summary. Okay, now the 5-number summary should include the minimum value of the distribution, provided that it's not outside the outlier boundary. So we've got the minimum value, the lower quartile, which is Q1, the median, which is Q2, the upper quartile, which is Q3, and the maximum of the distribution, provided that maximum is within the high end of the outlier. Okay, here we go. So now we want to find the boundaries for the outliers. And we've got this here. And we're told that the lower boundary is going to be Q1, the value of Q1 minus 1.5 multiplied by the interquartile range, because Q3 minus Q1 is the interquartile range. That will be the lower end of the boundary for our box-Whisker diagram. And the upper boundary is going to be Q3 plus 1.5 into Q3 minus Q1. So that'll be upper boundary. So now for green slacks, we've got this here. 44 minus 48 is the boundary on the left hand side, and 36 plus 48. So between minus 4 and 124, that's going to be the boundary for drawing our box and whisker diagram. So now the maximum value for the green slacks, the oldest person in green slacks is 94. So that's within the upper boundary for the outlier. And the upper boundary is 124. So all our values in the green slacks will be within our box and whisker diagram. Now, on the other hand, for Penville, we've got the boundaries from minus, because nobody's going to be minus 5 years old. So anyway, from minus 5 to 91. So in effect, our minimum value of 25 is okay. And so we now have 75, which is the maximum value in our distribution before the boundary of 91. So our box and whisker has got to include, it's going to go from 25 to 75 or from 25 to 91. Okay, right, let's see how we get on. So now this is the box and whisker diagram for green slacks. Now note here we've got 27, which is our minimum value. We've got 44, which is our Q1 or the lower quartile. We've got 64, which is our medium value Q2, and we've got Q3, which is 76, and again we've got the maximum value of 94. So all the people surveyed in green slacks fall within the boundaries of the outliers. So that's okay. Now note here. Now this value here in green, that is the mean value of all the distribution in green slacks, the average for like the mean value for the distribution in green slacks, and that is about 62. So compared to 64, which is the median value for green slacks distribution. So the mean for green slacks distribution is less than the median value, and that is an indication of negative skewing. Okay, so for Penville, we have the minimum value of 25, which is bigger than minus 4 anyway. Minimum value of 25, and we got, oh, sorry about this. I forgot to put my whiskers in green slacks. Now in the exam, you must have a whisker at both ends, or you get it wrong. Sorry about this. Anyway, moving on, we got our minimum value for Penville at 25. And a maximum value of 75, which is the maximum value in our distribution before we hit the boundary of 91. So you can do this from 25 to 75, or you can do from 25 to 91. You cannot have both. You cannot do 25 to 75 or 25 to 91. You can't have both. Now note here that in our distribution for Penville, there is a gentleman or a lady who is 99 years old. So he or she is outside the outlier, and that's indicated here. So that's 99 there. Also note here, the green bit is the mean for the Penville distribution. Now the mean is about 42 there, and the median for Penville distribution is 39. So the mean is greater than the median, and that is an indication of positive skewing. So it's skewed to the right hand side. Now the red here is the mean if we include the outlier. Okay, right. Now another way of finding whether it is negatively skewed or positively skewed. If Q2, as in green slacks, if Q2 minus Q1 is greater than Q3 minus Q2, then that is an indication of negative. It's an indication of negative skewing because Q2 minus Q1 is greater than Q3 minus Q2. Or, and the mean is 62 there, or we can use the histogram there, and you can see the histogram is skewed to the left hand side for green slacks. Okay. For Penville, we can see that Q3 minus Q2 is greater than Q2 minus Q1. Again, this is an indication of positive skewing there. Now, the histogram will look something like this one. So the histogram is descending from left-hand side to the right-hand side there. So again, that's another indication of positive skewing. Now, you don't need to do this in the exam unless you're asked to do that. So Penville is positively skewed, whereas green slacks is negatively skewed. Now, I hope all that made some sense, and please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye now.